So I am actually testing a new method with this camera because I just upgraded this camera. We're going to be using thermal imaging. So why would I use thermal imaging in a ghost hunt?
Because ghosts are supposed to be colder, right?
Exactly. You got it. Cold spots. We're literally looking for cold spots. So the cool thing is that this records the entire video with audio. And you guys will get this video back along with your regular audio. So then we have 2 points of EVPs to get back into. So you guys should all be able to see me in there. I'm orange, red, and yellow. At least I hope I am. I'm not blue and black. So blue and black are our cold spots. Everything around me should be somewhat, blue or black. What we are looking for on this guy are things that are blue and black to start moving on their own. So do I have things like actual evidence from this device? I do. Is it every night? It is not. However, let's say Jordan is running this camera and all of a sudden he sees something, bless you, twice, 3 times. So he sees something, by the time he hits the record button, it's already gone. So we need this thing running all night long. So you guys will actually get this video back. And since I've already mentioned your name, Jordan, it's going to you. So you're going to hold it horizontal all night.
That's probably good because I would.
You're going to see that the hot and cold pinpoints, it's going to go to the hottest point and the coldest point. The one thing I do need you to remember, actually you don't need to remember because it's recording a screen share instead of the actual button through there because it's been acting up. So just kind of focus on the 2 different points. If you like, our ambient temperature out here is probably going to be about 84, 85 degrees. So anything like that's going to drop below the 60s in your coldest area is where I'm going to get super excited about stuff.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's get into those spirit boxes. Let's not blind people. That would be
Pointing to Brittany's heart. Is it cold?
It's already dark out.
fair enough.
No, not today.
So, this is one of the 3 spirit boxes that we're going to be using tonight.
Watch me, people just back out.
That's going to set this up. So spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So how is this guy going to work? So for those of you that actually watch the ghost hunting TV shows, this is the white noise that Zach Bagans gives you and then puts on the screen what he thinks he heard in real time. Yeah, mine work a little bit differently. We're going to have white noise for those disembodied voices, but we're also going to have the radio chatter coming through. I want the radio chatter to come through. You guys aren't used to listening to this. Disembodied voices to catch in real time are damn near impossible. The cool thing about this one is it's going to record everything as far as the sweep goes. So it's going to go through all of the FM radio stations hundreds of times tonight. If we can make out a song lyric, a DJ, or a commercial, any kind of tidbit of that, it's a 50-50 shot that I can tie it to the location, the person I'm talking about in history, or even something going on with one of us. It's almost like, have you seen the movie Transformers? I see a look of confusion on your face.
I have not seen it.
Okay.
I'm sorry to ruin your analogy.
No, you're good. So basically, the spirit world has a possibility of using the DJ's voice to convey a message back to us.
Oh, okay.
You kind of get that just now? That's like, Bumblebee didn't have a voice box. He used a radio to talk to us.
Okay.
That was the same principle. Now, this will also record on mute. It's recording right now at a nice even volume, and it will not record any background noise, meaning it will not record any of us either. When I go through this recording tomorrow morning, I spot check it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We're going to have 2 hours of recording on this. You guys paid me to have fun. Half the fun of ghost hunting is going through the data and the research to find your own things. So I will give you the markers of things that I find, whether they're relevant or not. If they are relevant, so say Eliza Pinckney told you how old she was when she got married, and you get that specific number, I will give you, hey, Eliza Pinckney was this age when she got married. Here's the backlink of where I got my information. This is not about what I'm about to tell you, it's what I've learned along the way, and I'm going to prove to you that we're actually getting answers out of this guy. So, you look very confused. Emery, this one's going to go to you. You have one button at the very top. There's a wheel. You don't want to hit the actual button, there's a wheel. The wheel controls the volume. It's okay. You're going to control the volume.
I think so.
I'll give you the cue for spirit boxes up. Actually, there'll be 3 of them, so that'll be your cue of when to start. Alright, cool. Thank you. The next spirit box does the exact same thing, only it does not record. I'm actually going to put this with Brittany because Jordan's camera records audio. So in the event they are next to each other, which they probably will be most of the night, then his audio will hopefully pick up the things that we're hearing out of this guy. So you also have one button. It's on the side of the ball speaker. It's a gentle hold up and you'll get your volume, and then a gentle hold down when you want to turn it down.
Okay.
So get used to where that is for a few minutes. This one's for you. Are you ready? Can you handle the phone?
Alright.
Okay. This one is going to give us words in the center of the screen from time to time. Okay, so there's going to be no guesswork out of what we're hearing out of the spirit boxes, the two that I already gave out previously. Those words are going to be saved into a list. You're going to get the entire list back. My last group had 97 terms and a 2-hour time span. That's really heavy, almost double what I normally have. I'm going to clear them out, start you guys off fresh because they already have their list. This is meant to be a game and a program. 80% of what comes out of this thing, other 20% it's the same gist. I will tell you why it's relevant and then give you the backlink of where I got my information. I'm looking for the details. We're going to talk more about spirit boxes at the first location. All I'm going to say is, hey Sabrina, where are we at with the word list? And you hit the little calendar to the right, it'll give you the list, you can scroll through it, and then you circle back to get back to your main screen. It's insured, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Alright. Let's get into those lasers. There's why lasers don't normally go to people younger than me. Lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble. So these are super bright.
Oh my gosh.
So you guys can see the pen, you can see the lasers on the ground. However, you cannot see what goes in between the lasers until something goes in it. So what we're looking for here is literally something to pass through it. Is this a real time where we're going to see something passing through it? Possibly. I mean, this is pretty bright. It's going to flash back at the person using it. However, we're going to have somebody taking pictures through the lasers, hundreds of pictures to hopefully capture what's actually going to come up in the middle of all this. So the second one that we use is red squares. Why do we use red squares? Because in the event we capture a picture here, I can then put it in 3D software, give you a full 3D view of what we thought, along with measurements. So they will tell us exactly what's inside there. So, Tristan, was it? Yes. These are going to go to you. Lasers stay on the ground and then about 5 feet out in front of you. You're going to be the one taking pictures. So, there's no flash on this guy for a reason. Tristan, go ahead and point one of your lasers down. Let me kind of get a gist. You're literally going to be taking pictures horizontally through the laser. We're looking to capture something.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? I remember, what was it? That movie series,
Oh, it's got a
Paranormal Activity. That looks kind of like the laser from that.
Yeah, on the ground. So I'm not so much worried about me, I'm worried about the neighbors I have above.
Yeah, got
So
it.
again, always on the
I thought
ground.
it switched to that.
Nope, you're good. Alright.
I've seen those things.
Yeah, these are pretty common. So these are EMF detectors, so it's going to measure electromagnetic fields. Your TV shows never tell you how they work. However, they all use this one because it's very sensitive. This is kind of helping me to debunk certain things that are going to be going on around us, but it also gives us that first indication that something is actually happening. So, with that said, it's measuring an EMF right now. It's just natural from the earth. That's why it's not doing anything. It's not meant to measure that. The second one is going to be from electronic devices. My cell phone is going to make this thing go into a pulse. We don't want pulses either, so it usually means it's something man-made that's giving out a signal. We want this thing to go absolutely erratic. We want it to go a little nuts. So, with that said, Gabby, he needs to know when to stop, when to ask questions for his spirit box. You're also going to be the first indication that something's going on.
Am I just like anywhere? The
Nope.
words pick up anywhere?
Depends. Boggling my brain for your name.
I extended it another 30 minutes. I extended it another 30 minutes.
Multi-use device. So what this guy does, actually 3 different functions. You'll be fine. It has an EMF meter in it. That's your big numbers. All you got to do is watch them. Let me know when they go above 2.5. The bottom one is going to measure ambient temperature already. So when Jordan finds something, I'm able to either prove it or debunk it pretty quickly based on the temperature around this probe. The last thing that it's going to do, and we don't use this part all the time because it can be a little annoying for audio purposes, it's a REM pod. So anything that gets close to that antenna, it always goes nuts because I'm like right on the line. It just is if something gets close to it, it's going to go off. So again, it's a motion sensor of things that are around it. Now that it's calmed down, you can see that my hand is not touching the antenna.
Okay, I don't have to push any button. It goes off automatically.
Yep, and I can help you set it up every single time. For now, just leave this little flap open and just worry about the numbers. You're looking at 2.5 and higher. You'll be okay.
This is like a spy. Do I turn it on?
It's It's already on.
It's already
Like
on and
Yep,
running.
yep, you're good.
Just watch.
How do you see the numbers?
They're red. It's on a
The
red
light's
screen.
not on.
Yeah, lights.
Did it shut off? What happened?
The spirits are interfering.
What'd you do? You broke it.
Maybe I'm a spirit.
No, I don't.
Working amongst the living. What are you doing? This one had.
Yep.
Right. I don't think the thermal imaging is showing. Not cold. Thermal imaging.
You're gonna be my test market. I've had this for about a month now, so I'm testing new things with this guy, and to kind of give you guys a gist of what it does first. So the first thing.
Yeah.
You guys should not be able to see me in that camera at this point. If I am, I'm pretty dark, so I know it's a small screen. So let's turn on some lights.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have full spectrum lighting. Notice you cannot see the lighting with your own eyes. So this is going to help us find things that we cannot see by ourselves. We rely on the camera. So we will record, and you're going to be kind of playing with the long distance and the short distance lighting. This one's matched up with the lens, so that way you have a shorter distance, but the long distance should pretty much stay on all night. You have two toggle switches. The top one is the one you're worried about. The bottom one gives us night vision. I already make all the other tours angry by all of the crazy gizmos that I do, so I just keep off the night vision because I don't like their attention. So with that said, are you right or left-handed? Right. Perfect. It's already set up that way. When we're ready to record, we're going to record in two specific locations, maybe a third if I can get us closer to that one cemetery. So we'll kind of see how it goes. The files for this are giant. It literally takes like 8 hours to record, or like to process like 45 minutes worth of video. So again, and there's not much room on each SD card. So you're literally going to hold that just like this guy. And go ahead and get a feel for where your switches are. You have a top one there, and then you have a red button down here.
So they do not mess with the top switch.
And again, this is, I'm learning different things. I'm finding that the top one being on the whole time makes just for a much better video. The bottom one is one we don't want.
So the top and
There's a little red button right here.
red button is short range.
No, the red button actually is your short range. Go ahead and turn it off
Okay.
so you can see the difference.
Oh, okay.
Now that I'm close.
Yeah.
Got it now? What am I looking for in this guy? I'm literally looking for things in darker areas. That's why the long range one, because you might see some like highlights of leaves and whatnot, but you're not gonna be able to see all the shadows move until something can reflect light back to you.
So this, it's on right now.
Yep.
So I don't ever do this.
Oh, actually, that's on.
That's on. Okay. And then this is for.
Long range. It's gonna go a lot further. It actually has 4
Okay.
lights. This one only has 2.
Okay. So most of it will be short range.
Mostly long range.
Okay.
You'll see. When we start hitting those locations. All right, everybody's got a device, right? Nope, except for me. 2.5 right now. Oh, we're still close to
No,
it.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's what I'm supposed to be looking for. Sorry, I don't.
No, you're good. No, you're fine. So again, how this is going to go is when we get to each location, and again, this was a quick, let's get some devices in your hands so we can actually get moving. At the first location, I'm going to literally bounce around with all of you and show you more tactics based on your device. It's a short history, it's a one-liner. And again, it's just to teach you guys more tactics and so you can get used to listening and watching what you're actually using. But let's start with the address that I gave you guys first. So I told you guys to meet me at 251 East Bay Street. Of course I did, the place is haunted. So it's the reason why we start here. 251 East Bay Street used to be a place called Big John's Tavern. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. That's what you guys remember. So he used to sit in the back of the bar, back here on this side where that door is, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink. One night 2 guys come in, they're not old enough. John tells the bartender, get them the hell out of here. They leave. Pretty angry. They come back the next night, they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John gets up, he starts pounding these guys into the floor. Couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands in the wall. John gets up and he goes back to the bar and he tells the bartender to get him another beer and get the guys on the floor and ambush. Now, nobody died in that story. Second off, John's the one that got shot. He's also the only one that got up out of that fight. So what's haunting the place? The bullet hole is allegedly still here. When I say allegedly, it's because they are renovating the place. They put the brown paper on the windows. They're probably turning it into another bar. The only time I've ever had EMF reading in that bar is at the front from time to time. which means it's not always active. The people that sit in the front of the bar get leg symptoms, queasiness, headaches, stomach aches, just slight symptoms. Anybody feels any of those things tonight, I don't know how paranormal activity is going to actually affect you. Let me know immediately, and we will move the whole group along. So, I don't say that to scare you, because technically this is not a scary tour. You guys are in control. But I do have to put out that heated warning, not that people haven't passed out on my groups before. Right? And it's pretty muggy night.
Pretty hot.
So, let's talk about something that's not our own health before we move on. There's a big earthquake in 1886 here. It's a big one for us because this is South Carolina. We don't get earthquakes. So, the middle of that bar also goes around to the front. A piece of it broke off from the earthquake, struck somebody in the back of the head, and apparently that was the first death from that earthquake. So, again, I don't have any proof of it. That's why I say apparently and allegedly a lot in that little tidbit. But it's a great segue so you guys aren't thinking about getting sick on my shoulder. So, are you guys ready to go something?
Yeah.
So, let's do this. We're going to go this way. Right. Let's get everybody over here. I'm going to give you guys the skinny of what's happening here, and then what we're going to do is let's go ahead and turn that down a little bit. I feel like I'm almost talking over it. I almost lost my voice 2 minutes ago. It's a good thing I had the night off last night. So, this is what I call the Big Red Barn Lot. So, this is where we keep your horses for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell them. I'm pretty much immune to them. So, they are inside. They do not like white noise from spirit boxes, so if you guys are going to get close to that building, the 2 of you that actually have spirit boxes, please keep them audible to you and someone else only. Lasers, absolutely none on that building. So, very quick history here. This is the same red barn where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Whenever I give you a story or history of a location, I will emphasize keywords in that particular story. Over there is Big John and 47 Spirit Giants. Those are key words, mainly for spirit boxes. Over here, it's horses, milk, delivery. Those are your key words. This is not TV, which is spirit boxes. This is not, is somebody here? Because if they answer no, there's somebody here. Okay, they just lied to you. So we're going after the details. If somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. The name of it is the Big Red Barn. Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red on the spirit boxes. But keep in mind, they might not come across a DJ or a song lyric that's going to have the word red in it. They may give you something that is specifically red. Fire from blood, heart. All 3 of those things are specifically red. This is about putting clues together. This is not going to be a full conversation with how Big John's career went. This is going to be, I'm right here, 47, John Barr. Those are the things I'm looking for. Now, in the event you don't hear anything related to the color red, open up your questions. What's inside the barn? Now we have horses, animals, draft horses, that's for breed. We talked about delivery, milk and eggs. Milk and eggs could also be protein and calcium. Again, about putting the clues together. For those of you that have the noisy spirit boxes, in the event you actually get a double-digit number, it's a good chance, unless, I also need another clue, but it might be a jersey number from Big John's teammates. It happens all the time. I don't get excited about that double-digit number. So if you hear the number 40, and then all of a sudden Sabrina has the word art on her word list, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team in 1947. So again, those are the kinds of things that get me excited. I'm not going to get stoked about one term coming up. It's obviously a coincidence. So we'll kind of see how that matches up. And again, it's going to be different spirit boxes and different visionaries working together. This is a safe place for lasers. We just want to keep them off of vehicles. They will set off the alarms. It's never fun to run with 9 other people. Somebody gets left behind, so I don't want to see who that is. As far as the cameras go, I definitely want to keep the cameras with me for just a few minutes to show them extra tactics first, and then I'm going to work with Jenny on her millimeter to show her more about that REM pod. She can do more with that thing. So, yeah, watch those numbers, find a hotspot. Emery,
What is this recording?
that is recording the word.
That's what we're saying?
No, it doesn't hear.
What is he doing?
The app is designed to give us random words every the word coming from the app, or is it coming from a post? That's why only 20% of that is going to be relevant.
So like,
No.
wait, what? Is this coming from the radio?
They claim that it's coming from the radio.
You hear anything?
Again, the game you're playing
Silly.
Yes. So now there's a couple circles around me. I'm literally looking for things in the darker spots. I want to see things that aren't supposed to be out. So again, you're going to basically use that as a viewfinder. The two major spots that I have, that's where we're going to record and actually get the footage. Again, when I'm watching it, it's all about those places that it isn't supposed to have something to do. And I've already caught something I can't. So again, something came across the camera so quick, and it actually had fingers to it. So it was super weird, and it was helping me out. But it was like
Make sure I use the short range or the long range.
whatever is going to create. So for example, go ahead and point it at the bar, and just turn on the
Why
light.
did it say Emory?
Random.
Why did it say Emory?
It said Emory.
Yeah. If it didn't hear, I thought it was hearing what we said.
No.
But it said, you're sure?
I use this every night.
No, I don't want it. Here, give it right over. It says his name.
What's considered short range?
What does it say for?
Dang, shit.
It literally says his name. His name is Emory, and literally it said his name right there. And apparently it doesn't listen to what we're saying. It generates random ones from.
Let me show you a little bit more about that thing and why I want to keep somebody in view at all times with yours. So go ahead and point your camera at the wall for me. It should bleed out to mainly one color. Once my hand comes into view, that wall should turn blue.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, my skin temperature and anybody else's skin temperature is going to be the warmest thing out here. We want the array of color, so the more things you have in there, and I like that big bounce of where you see the dots moving, I'm sure. I like to see where the coldest spot's going to be. This is only the second time I've used this camera. I want to make sure I got the right one on there. The lines are, yeah, you're good. So you should have like the little bar on the right that shows you the full spectrum of like what the colors mean.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to give you the hottest temperature versus the coldest temperature. So that's basically why the colors are going to fluctuate based on whatever's inside your screen. It doesn't matter if somebody's 5, 10, 15 feet away. They could be 20 feet away. As long as you can keep somebody in view with their skin temperature, it's going to make sure we have something moving around. At the next location, I am going to show you a piece of evidence from that camera, only because that's where it happened. It's just much easier to visualize once you're actually there. With your spirit box, have you heard anything come out of it yet?
Not really.
Okay.
Not yet.
Again, anything you hear. 'Cause, again, sometimes there's extra clues of things that I don't put into the story because it's too long.
Okay.
6.8, where at?
Right here, but it's not there anymore.
I also just bumped that.
Your readout is not going to, like, you can drop it.
I don't know what is it reading on my
Electromagnetic. Basically, your cell phone is not signal, right?
Try that here.
Just behind this is that something. This number is going up. Obviously, when it's like standing in the same spot, no longer there. We're standing on two. Nothing here. That's not what's inside. Now that I have it here, let me show you more.
I'm gonna keep you in my camera at all times.
I thought I heard it say something.
I thought I heard it say something
I
too.
thought I heard it say jerk.
It might. Turn it up a little bit.
Huh?
Can you turn it up?
Is your device communicating?
Whoa, what was that? I don't know. I didn't realize she was walking over there. I was like, that's creepy.
I'll go to this later.
I don't know.
It's still moving, Gabby? Yeah. You heard anything?
I see a puddle.
Hey, what does it mean when the
That curve thing has been going off in this area. Your device.
I think you found something.
So it picks up metal.
Uh,
What did you have? I just had random strings and numbers at this point.
this thing's doing something.
Sophisticated.
So it's not supposed to go off?
Going off indicates the presence of something.
I don't know.
So what are we supposed to do?
I'm supposed to, I don't know what you're looking for. I'm supposed to.
God, you hear it? It's the radio. How do you use the radio? What words do you have so far, Sabrina?
With that kind of stuff. I have, you know what's weird is that I had Emery.
What's this dude with this thing?
It said Emery's name, which is crazy.
Again,
Well, it's crazy that it's spelled right.
I have have right now are her, potentially Emery, simultaneously, Boyle, Roach, Aura, Lab,
You have a lot of questions. Viewers, I know the science is really heavy. With this large party, if there's something you want to intermingle amongst your party of 7, feel free to do so. If you're just not getting it or listening, or you have a hard time with the spirit box, switch up with somebody else. It's perfectly fine, as long as it stays within your party. Now, with yours, that was with your movement. You broke the EMF field because you moved too quick.
Oh.
These are technically meant to be set up in a room on a table with a video camera watching it. If something goes near it, it's going to go off. Right? Something paranormal.
Nothing is going on here.
Your hand,
I got a lot of orange faces.
hand, it's going to. That's it.
Why is it going
It will not use them for red numbers. Red numbers would not be used when you cross the head.
I guess we could do like a picture right there.
That
That would be really cool. So I can post my ghost busting things. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's you're not touching it. That's what I see more often than not. You guys ready to go learn some real history now? Yeah. All right, let's do this. Because I call this the Pinckney Mansion site. Alright, so lots of history going on here. How's the EMF meters going right now? Is anything moving?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a good sign. Alright, good. What about yours over there? Are the red numbers doing anything?
No.
Okay. Alright, so again, this is the Pinckney Mansion site. So this is where Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion lived. We're actually going to move in a little bit this way just because that's the only way in and out of the vehicle. I don't want to create any ghosts.
Oh my gosh.
So, Eliza and Charles Pinckney, they actually had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. However, you guys are all on vacation. None of you want to talk about South Carolinian politics, and neither do I. So, we're going to move on to Eliza.
That's pink.
Let me know when it says blue.
Pinckney. Kinda, sorta.
Kind of a stretch.
Okay, keep going.
So, we're going to talk about Eliza. This is not an answer to, by the way, with questions that you guys are going to do on your spirit boxes, where I'm going to give you the answers like what color is George Washington's white horse, right? You're going to actually get the answers from your spirit box. Eliza married Charles at a young age. So, I'm not going to give you what that number is, but I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. So if that kind of helps you with what numbers you're scoping for. But she married him because her father over in England thought he was dying. I know, history stuff can get boring. I see the
No.
He thought he was dying, and he wanted all of his kids home. She didn't want to go because she didn't believe he was dying. So she put her foot down, she got married. This is the 1740s. There's no such thing as citizenship. There's no green card by her getting married. It was just her putting her foot down and saying, Dad, I'm not going anywhere. I don't think you're going yet. And she was right. He didn't die just yet. So instead, he started sending over gifts from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. You're wearing it right now. You didn't even know it. That's how we still use it today. She experimented with it right where you're standing. This is huge for South Carolina because our rice plantations were going downhill at the time. She called her dad up and said, I need to be able to sell this stuff. Once she was done experimenting with it here, she learned from her slaves how to keep it cultivated, moved it over to Mount Pleasant. Then calls her dad, I want to sell this. She starts selling it overseas. The family was already pretty rich. So, once she starts selling it overseas, we now have a businesswoman in the middle of colonial times. This is absolutely unheard of for the 1700s. So, I'm just giving you enough to get you started with your spirit boxes, but there are a lot of weird facts about Eliza that we can ask about. Anything about her death is going to be... Anything about her death. How old were you? Where did you die? What did you die from? Where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? I think that's a pretty prominent question. Most people go after that one first. You can obviously ask what happened to the mansion. It's not here anymore. Then you can ask when that tragedy happened. Eliza...
What tragedy were you talking about? What tragedy?
Of the house.
Sin.
Okay.
Did you tell us about
Nope, you're going to ask the spirit boxes, so hopefully we get the answer.
sin?
We don't need to be verbally asking.
It can be.
Wait, is it gonna like talk
Yeah.
on the spirit
Oh,
boxes?
okay.
I think so.
See, I don't know
I'm
what
hearing
happened.
that it's something to do with feathers and sin.
What would you like to know? I've got some history facts right here. Yeah.
What is going on? Screen recorder should still be going. Let me just double check on that real quick. Yeah, just gonna make sure it's still recording. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Because I'm doing it a different way tonight because the FLIR app doesn't like to record properly.
Okay.
You're good to go. All right, so a couple other questions. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Both Elizas go by their maiden name. They both start with the letter L. I'm not going to give you what those are. That's the things you're going to ask in your spirit box. The kids, if you're going to ask about the children, I will tell you kind of another heated warning. Don't poke the bear too hard. All activity will stop in the event we're actually having any. With that said, you can ask questions like, how many kids did you have? How many boys? How many girls? Get some names. Leave it alone. There's a tragedy among the children. If you poke too hard at that tragedy, again, it won't just stop here. Your entire story will be me telling you stories, and that's it. I've seen it dozens of times when somebody gets too curious about what happened to one of those children. So, again, tread lightly with that one. I think I've pretty much given you guys enough. Ask about the mansion, what happened to it, what year did that happen, kind of get the gist of what's going on here. So I'm going to start bouncing around with all of you, so that way I can show you more tactics. I don't think I got a true chance to work with you guys yet. And the lasers. So I may start with them first, just to kind of give them a gist of what I'm looking for with their pictures tomorrow morning. So let's go ahead and spread out. We're going to stay within this lot. We're going to be here for a few minutes. Hopefully we capture something along the way.
Yeah, no, man, I'm not radio.
Are you guys?
Does this lot encompass the entire original mansion?
So the mansion sat in the front. Eliza's garden was lined up with that left tree. And then these back here were the servant and slave quarters. So it actually overlapped where the plat stands now. But yeah, they went a little bit past it. Giant mansion.
We got anything?
No.
Alright. Keep looking, man. Any other questions? How old were you when you married your husband?
What color was your house?
Can I ask a question?
How many children did you have? the fudge was that?
How many children did you have?
Somebody's got a radio station for it. What is that? What is that's a can. Every time I get a cold spot, it's like a can.
Have you got anything yet?
Everything I see is just like it's like usually the roof or something. There's a flickery light over there.
I was just pointing that out too.
Oh, what is that? That is something else.
Ask me another question.
What color was your house? Why are you so rude? What is that?
Was your house very beautiful?
Hey,
I don't know, ask them.
I'm gonna go closer to it. I think it might be the shade from the tree. What is that?
What year were you born?
We said around 60 degrees is what we're looking for.
How many degrees is that?
About 80.
Oh. I thought you found something. I was like, yeah.
Are you a communist?
What is your favorite color?
What color was your house? Did you love your husband? Did she say red?
What? Red.
Did you hear red?
At one point I thought I heard her say blue.
I thought I heard it say red.
In here or over there?
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in here we probably get the color blue more so than red.
Yeah, I thought I heard blue.
My apologies, we kind of broke up.
I don't know, man. This is weird. What's that?
Was the place blocked?
Do you have that lock? Sienna, man.
Those four.
How many daughters did you have?
I'm trying here. Whoa. Wait a minute. Oh, that's a truck right there.
How many sons did you have?
It's like, do you want us to leave? Do you want us to leave? I got one more. When the earthquake hit, was there a whole lot of shaking going on?
I heard it say something for a second.
Huh. Kind of a cold spot over there between those two. And that'd be the thing she's holding in her hand, though.
Was your house blue?
He said the slave quarters is over this way, right? It's kind of cool. We're going to get another spot or something. He said he wants me to keep somebody like in the camera at all times.
Not me.
So I'm trying to follow people.
Did you hear that?
I heard something. Turned up a little bit.
What was the name of your first child?
Are you gonna get stabbed on the ghost too?
Yeah, that's whenever somebody books a tour, it says Ghostbusters. What do you want? It's Janine from Ghostbusters. So that way I know it's another booking coming through.
So, I thought it was
No, you thought it was his ghost box? But yeah, that's
love the ominous lightning you signed that up to.
I do my own video. Every creative voice I can possibly do.
The hottest point on your face is apparently your nose. That's what I want.
That's your main source. I'm going to be listening through other. You and I are going to chat throughout the night, so I can get to know you. Anything else is going to tie you.
I mean, it did say 5 right now. It did say both, and he's a polycylizer.
What color was the house?
I can't prove what color.
Where was the house?
What did it say? I can't hear.
Second home run of the night.
Yeah, second home run of the night. That is pretty good.
Oh.
Run home.
Yeah, yours still running? I can barely hear yours too.
Yeah.
We're not collaborating yet. You guys haven't screamed at me that you actually got some answers.
Was a
Indirect voice, he says.
Was Eliza's marriage to Charles arranged?
Did she love him?
It did. Very much so.
That's cute. That's just what
Good
I
question.
say. We actually a lot of marriages. Yeah, so that's nice that they had like a good marriage.
Whoa!
And left her here at the age of 15 to run the plantation. Yeah, for me to go into all of the things I know about the Twinkies, we would still be here as I would be talking everything off of that. Alright, are we getting anything on the thermal, Jordan? You got anything going on with that guy? He has full spectrum. Jordan has a thermal. Your EMF's been going off almost this entire time. I've seen it out of the corner of my eye. It's right around that yellow mark. Nothing is really super spiked here. I think
Kristen.
still the only thing I see is going to be his name. And nothing else is specific enough for me to say that it's actually anything. So I'll put that 80%. Right now, Emory is pretty specific.
He actually said it spelled right, which never happened.
So, you guys ready for some answers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Answers.
To the questions you're supposed to be
I've been asking
in
these
your
all
spirit boxes.
night.
Oh, I thought I was getting that on this.
Everybody's had time and nobody's been screaming at me with they've had answers, so we're gonna kind of give you the answers so you're not left hanging. So,
Yeah.
Eliza was 22 when she got married to Charles, which means he was 45 years old. And yes, they were very much in love. Their marriage lasted for 14 years before he passed away, and she did remain a widow for the rest of her years. Let's talk about her death. She was 70 years old when she died in 1793. Yeah, she died from breast cancer in Philadelphia, which is also where she's buried. So, a lot of questions around that. Nick, this is called Stories in a Cemetery. How many cemeteries are we going to? None. We're walking through one because Charleston is one giant cemetery. When you're dead and gone, and you're a ghost, you're probably not going to hang out where you're buried. You're going to go to places you love, like your giant mansion in Charleston. This is where you live. That's the mentality behind this. So, I also want you to think about breast cancer in 1793. It did not exist. We're going based off of her medical records. So 9 out of 10 credible websites will actually tell you it was indeed breast cancer. So the cancer has shown up here several times. The Eliza we're speaking of, her maiden name was Lucas. So Eliza Lucas Pinckney. First wife, her maiden name was Lamb, like the animal lamb. So Eliza Lamb, Pinckney was what we were looking for there. Lamb and Lucas. Yeah, you missed that part. Let's see what else. The mansion. Somebody said, I think it was Tristan, it did catch fire in the Great Fire of 1861. Oh, going back to Eliza's death for a second, I forgot. The president that took her to her grave. Any guesses now that you guys know the year? 1793? Going once, twice. George Washington.
Wow.
Yes.
What did she do that made George Washington be?
She saved the colonies with her indigo because the rice plantations were carrying all of the colonies during that time. So when it went downhill and she came in, boom. So,
So is indigo still
crop here?
Yes.
Not necessarily. So I want to say you can actually go to the rice plant, the rice museum in Georgetown, and it will mention that it is very hard to keep indigo crops going here now because the waterways have changed over the years. So again, it is something that I believe it can be done. I just don't know of any prominent plantations that still create it. Not, at least not here. Nope. Let's see, where were we? So George Washington actually spent some time here in Charleston. So I want to say it was 10 or 12 days. I don't know the exact number. But the Pinckneys pretty much hosted all of his meals because there was a lot of politicians in their family, including her husband. So he only had 13 governors. He knew them all pretty well. So he spent some time here. Let's go to the kids. Everybody was kind of treading around. 3 boys, 1 girl. We have Charles of the name that I gave you, right, from the very beginning. Then we have Thomas Pinckney, who served in the Battle of Camden that you and I spoke about. And he did get his leg shattered from that war, so the word leg shows up there quite often as well. The last son did not make it. His name was George. He was named after Eliza's father. And if Eliza's maiden name was Lucas, what is her father's name? George Lucas, right. So, baby George, we don't know if the baby was days or weeks old, and there is no grave or headstone for this child, just a death certificate that has the same month and year of his birth and death. So we don't even know how old he was. 1 daughter, Harriet, she actually married in Horry. Myrtle Beach, just 2 hours north of here, is in Horry County. So that was quite the distance for Eliza to be able to travel to go see her daughter. There was a lot of letter writing. I get a lot around the daughter's name and letter writing when they show up together. So again, if I have Harriet, pen, ink, paper, I know that this is something definitive, and that's how I can lock in the clues. From here, we're actually going to go to Lodge Alley. We're going to go up East Bay Street about 3 blocks to our next haunted location. Your spirit boxes that you're listening to and the one you're watching, look for names. I'm not going to tell you what gender they are. I'll explain once we get there. The reason why I don't give you the answers is because if I tell you to listen for the color red, more than likely somebody's going to hear the color red. Does that make sense? I'm giving you that precognitive kind of mentality. I don't like to do that. I don't even like giving you the stories ahead of time. But again, you need to know, like, I can't just say, all right, go explore and then come back. I'm like, well, this is the Pinckney Mansion site. This is what we should have caught. You need to have a little bit of knowledge about your location. But if I tell you what names along Lodge Alley, you're going to be listening for those names specifically. I'm not even going to tell you what gender to listen for. Lodge Alley is a very interesting place, and it kind of gives you a better layout of the land once we get over there. Where are so we have 1 EMF on yours and your together. So we're going to be going past parking meters that are going to make your devices go off. You can definitely turn off your REM pod, the motion sensor, put your antenna in, and you can ignore your numbers until we get to Lodge Alley because we're not going to mean anything because I can't prove it otherwise. It's from the parking meters. It's a false positive. When we get to Lodge Alley, who's got the camera now? So Tristan, you're going to be taking pictures, or Mackenzie, depending on who has the camera. Once we get there, you're going to take a few shots going down the alley. Sometimes I get light anomalies and orbs floating around, so hopefully we can capture something. No lasers. Absolutely no lasers on East Bay. You will blind cars. So you're out of the game for just a few blocks.
So no lasers in the house.
But take
Like take
pictures.
pictures.
Right.
Okay.
Got it. Good. I think we can. No. That's a different alley.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that one too. She's on the right path. We got it. Alright guys, let's head this way.
Let's go
research is what I love to do. So, we can head up.
Is that where they went?
Where's the car? You guys stealing that.
Yeah, we gotta show them, yeah. What are we gonna do?
All right, though.
All right, got. All right.
Alright, we're on the way. We're on the way.
Rock and roll.
Don't need anyone falling behind that.
Probably not going to get as lucky this week with the dude writing all of his good cards. Yeah. Oh, that's it? Cash.
Great one. Yep.
Try to walk slow, but a couple. Brief stop, everybody. So let's. It's also a quiet area, so definitely keep your spirit boxes down in here. Yeah, I can see the adjustment of shoes. I go through a new pair of shoes every night here, so. This is Lodge Alley. When we crossed that last crosswalk, you were walking through where the original Charlestown walls were. So you're standing on one of the original streets of Charlestown. So when I say Charlestown versus Charleston, it changed. So with that said, I asked for names. Emily's already said he didn't hear any. Brittany, what about you? Nothing? So the reason why I asked for that is because I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here, because this was a street. There was little tiny shotgun houses here. Not many of them, but I do have that full list of residents. I do get names from that list along with their occupation. So it's very interesting when I get names that come up that actually match up. It's very interesting. The reason why this is called Masonic Lodge Alley is because the Freemasons had a Masonic Lodge here. So it did stand on this alley before it was residential. So we do get the word Freemason, brick, clay stones, all kinds of things will pop up to kind of give us those clues around that. Again, this is an interesting place. It's got a lot of history because of where it is, and it's so close to the water. There was a lot of fires here, but being close to the water, that smell of low tide would have been coming through because those buildings down there wouldn't have been here. Again, lower class. The archaeological dig they did do on this alley, they found a lot of their silverware and some of their tools and pieces of their clothing to be able to prove that they were actually lower class. They did find some human remains that I found in the report as well. Whether or not they're still here or not, most of the times when you find human remains that old, they have to let them lie. So again, it's too much money to excavate them and study them versus leaving them where you found them. So again, we could be walking over bones. That's something I just learned over the past few weeks as some clues started coming up about what type of bones. So again, very interesting alley indeed. One of your first streets here. Not to mention, you guys were all on vacation. You needed to see some cobblestone here in Charleston. They're normally not supposed to park here. We're literally at the cusp of where tour guides are allowed to go. So as we exit the alley, we're going to be very careful around that vehicle because I don't know whose it is. And we will be cutting through a neighborhood to get to our next location. The spirit boxes will stay with volume low. So once we turn the corner going on Cumberland Street, we'll turn it back up, but then we're going to stop and learn some legends and lore around the cemetery up there. We're going to see some of those larger groups I was telling you guys about earlier, so we'll kind of pick our spot. It's Tuesday, so I don't expect to see a whole lot up there. I'm usually the only one that's sold out in the middle of the week, so we'll kind of see what happens. And then we're going to dive into a female pirate at the Powder Magazine. So that's going to be a big investigation, like what we did over at Pinckney Mansion. I'll be honest, so far it's pretty light, but I'm not listening in on the spirit box that Emery has, and I haven't really been watching the cameras, and I don't do that until tomorrow morning anyway. But so far it's been pretty light. Again, I just like to be honest with you guys. When stuff comes up, you're going to know when I'm excited about something. So I'm still excited just about Emery's name popping up, like what is going on there. So, all right, let's creep by this car and let's go see what we can find up by the cemetery.
Babe. Don't leave me behind.
I thought you were right behind me the whole time, and I looked back and I'm like, uh-oh.
Can you put my phone in your pocket?
Here.
This is something. Stop. Never mind. lot of people up there. It's a lot of people up there. Cicada.
Mainly, who knows, mixture of everything. Could be frogs mixed in there. These little sounds like it, doesn't it? Alright, so did everybody notice the beautiful alley that we passed up, the Philip, the brick and the going through? Near a church. That is Philadelphia Alley, aka once known as Julio's Alley. So that's where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So we all tell the one story. There were a couple of tours down there. I don't like to play around with not allowed to be there because it is residential at the end. I used to take my tours down there and then I got caught in Kennedy. So I don't go over there anymore. I now round you guys up over here and then we go across the street to go look into the powder magazine after this. That's where the female pirates usually were caught and stuff. But I do like to tell a couple of stories over here just so you can give you guys a break. And again, I told you it's going to be pretty popular over here. We're going to actually let this group pass through. So they're going to find their spot near the church. How are you?
Street that my dad purpose to let people enter it. You know, it's pretty
Found the other ghost tours.
Agreed. So, let's talk about the duel that we all talk about because we can actually prove it. It actually happened. So there was a doctor that moved down here from Rhode Island. His name was Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancée Amanda just inherited a bunch of money, and the attorney handling that money told her to send the doctor away because her parents are gone. That's where she inherited the money from. So this way, the attorney thinks that the doctor's just after her cash. So obviously he moves away to prove that he's not just after her cash, and he starts his practice in Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good way to start his way in Charleston. So somebody walking by sees what's going on. His name is Ralph Isaacs. Keep in mind that the doctor, this guy has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I. shows up with us a lot, but again, I need that extra clue so I know who it's referring to. With that said, he takes him to 59 Church Street. We're on Church Street, just so you guys know where you're at, obviously because of the giant St. Philip's Church. So he takes him to 59 Church Street. He rents a room from two friends of Ralph, and the two of them become friends, Ralph and the doctor. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making lots of money. He's got plenty of patients. Amanda's going to be moving down soon, and he's proving his point. He becomes known as the whistling doctor because he whistled all the time. So him and Ralph become friends, but the doctor making more money when they went to go see plays together, the doctor gets better seats just based on the hierarchy of the way things were in Charleston. So they don't sit next to each other. They talk about the plays on the way home. So they're talking about William III one night. I don't know which theater, and no tour guide can tell you which one because there were literally dozens at the time. So they start arguing about the new actress that was in the play. The doctor loved her, Ralph did not. Of course, battle goes back and forth. Then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée Amanda back home in Rhode Island. Obviously, they get pretty mad at each other and they go their separate ways. Ralph is fun. He goes to his friends at the newspaper and he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston. Yeah. The doctor rebuttals with, let's go to Julio's Alley. Let's settle this. So they come down, they take the 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to prove a point. The argument was stupid and it's going to be good. However, Ralph has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So instead of coming over the courtyard through the death gate over there and over to the cemetery, his friends pick him up and carry him back home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later, probably from bleeding out. Now the gist of the ghost story is that when you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Keep in mind, if you're going to walk through there, turn on your voice recorders on your phone. I do have some I can't debunk, but we do have a lot of hecklers in town because everybody knows the story. So anybody walking down Queen or Cumberland is going to throw a whistle down Philadelphia Alley to kind of get guys like me on like, oh, I just heard something. But it's not going to be like a normal, it's not going to be like that at all. It's going to be very faint. So, you saying that about my whistle? It wasn't that good, was it? Good too. So again, it's a very interesting alley. And if you're picture takers, all of you tourist people, that is the most picturesque place we have in Charleston. It's absolutely gorgeous, day or night. So again, you'll be behind a cemetery, super cool. Not to mention, those bricks are really, really old. So there's actually handprints from the slaves that used to like turn those bricks, because they weren't stone, like in a brick, they weren't fired. So they actually had the sun dry them, and that way their handprints and fingerprints are still in those bricks. So you go all the way down towards the end where the mansion is, you'll see a handprint right in the center. So yeah, it used to be something I used to point out to my other tours, but I can't go down there anymore because my group had to start taking flashy pictures and make the guys' dinner all a mess. So anyway, I don't go down there anymore. Let's see what else.
So wait, where is that alley? You want to come back?
So it is right, we passed it. So it's the brick alley. It's literally right behind you. So, yep, you're exactly right. That wall behind us, like off in the distance there, that is Philadelphia Alley. The reason that gate is there is in the event there was a loser from a duel, they had a way to bring them over to the courtyard and go drop the body in the cemetery so they can go celebrate the home. It's still there. Not for those same reasons, but it is still there. It does stand for lock and key. The story they're all telling is pretty simple. If you haven't heard it yet, it's basically, it's really short, they just drag it out. That's the eastern side of the St. Philip's Cemetery. That's what I was telling about, that if we can get some footage there, that would be great. But there's a sign right inside the gate. It says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. There's a reason for that. The church doesn't want guys like me going in there with cameras taking pictures, because in 1888, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Party 6 days after her stillborn child. 1987, local photographers in town is putting a book together of all of our cemeteries. He captures a full apparition in the picture with a baby basket next to this woman that's kneeling over that grave. It's 1987. There's no camera phones and all of the mess. He has to send it to Kodak. So Kodak can't debunk the picture either. However, the picture is cursed, which is why I don't show it on my tour. If something pops up here as evidence, I will give you the warning about the curse. Females that can handle the picture, even on your cell phones, you'll have the same symptoms like I told you about back at Big John's. Females that are pregnant pulling the picture, based on the gist of the story, you're probably not going to have a good pregnancy. Another reason why I don't show the picture. Somebody's not going to have a great time on their vacation, call me 9 months later that something went wrong in the family. I'm not going to be the guy to blame. So again, I don't show the picture. If something pops up in your evidence that has to be directed towards that, there will be a warning on the link before you click on it. So, let's see if that covers it. Crowd. Burning gas lamp. Do you guys see that back there? See that crowd?
It's right there.
Yeah. Alright, so the burning gas lamp is the pirate house. That's where Blackbeard's men came off those ships. They were having a few drinks, meeting a few ladies, have a place to sleep, while Blackbeard stayed on the ships and actually guarded them. He never set foot on our soil. You can't miss this place. It has a big anchor on the front of it. That's where the gas lamp goes off in the distance. It's residential. That's why we don't go up there. It's just me getting your mind set up on pirates. So, with that said, they dug a tunnel from the pirate house 1 block away to Dock Street Pier, which is one of the top 10 most haunted locations in America. Do I have that evidence? I don't. I'll be honest with you. I've been through it dozens of times. I got nothing. We have very little that comes out of that place. However, at the time, it was Planters Hotel. It was a whorehouse, it was a playhouse, and a hotel. Obvious reasons why they went there, but they also went there for the playhouse as well. Pirates tie really good knots. They would go and work for a few days with the plays backstage, in between bartering with all the locals. That way they can actually make more money before they went back to the captain, who was aboard the ships. So now that your mind is set on pirates, I don't see anybody yawning, so you guys stayed awake. Good job on the history part. Jordan, you doing all right over there, man? Mm-hmm. You're like sweating to death. I feel bad.
I'm fine.
Okay. We're actually going to go across the street, and I'm going to tell you about this powder magazine and this kick-ass female pirate. So let's go dive into her. Yeah.
I just sweat a lot. I always sweat a lot. For that church. So which way are we going? Everybody's in close to it. Yay. Another parking lot.
Revolution was the next one. Nothing specific. Alright, so where the heck are we? This is the Powder Magazine. You guys remember me telling you about the Charlestown Wall back at Lodge Alley? Mm-hmm. This is the street where it came up. So it went up past the Powder Magazine, which is the building with the crosses on it. First off, those aren't crosses, those are earthquake holes. I told you about the earthquake in 1886. The gist is if that building gets quaked again, they're on turnbuckles. You're supposed to be able to tighten those turnbuckles and the building stands straight back up again. Great theory, but it doesn't work. So,
Never mind then.
But the Charlestown Wall went past the Powder Magazine about half a block and then started going south towards the Battery. It's literally locked into the corner of where the city was originally, for a reason. This held gunpowder for 7 different wars, including the Civil War. So, again, it's positioned on purpose 3 blocks away from the water. If it gets struck by cannon, it's going to have a hard time from the ships on the water to go through those 32-inch thick walls. But let's say it goes all the way through. Blows up the gunpowder inside. There is sand in the roof from 1712. The theory behind that is that it goes up in the air from the blast of the gunpowder and it's supposed to fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. Another great idea that doesn't work. So, yeah. But, as you can see, this building has never been attacked. This is the oldest government building we have on the East Coast. It was finished in 1713. I'd say it's the oldest building we have in Charleston. It's the oldest government building. So there is one house that is older than this one in Charleston, 1712. That is the Pink House on Chalmers Street. So that's an interesting place too, residential. The reason why I bring up all of this about the Powder Magazine and its history is because in the middle of its construction is where the story starts. So it's just a familiar building. We're talking over 300 years old at this point. So 1703 to 1713 is when this building was being constructed. 1708 is where it begins, right in the middle. So follow me on this, there's a lot of twists. A young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She moves here with her dad and his mistress, who happens to be her mother. Is that with me so far? The 3 of them are getting away from his wife. How scorned was she that they moved halfway across the world in 1708? So obviously we have this familiar building. Dad buys a plantation in the Georgetown area. Anne, as a teenager, starts to do business for Dad down here. Mom dies pretty early after getting to Charleston. So, building being familiar, 1715 now, we're going to fast forward, she's definitely a teenager. Pirates are coming through town. This is very exciting for her. Just to give you the mentality of this young lady, rumor had it she actually killed one of her servants when she was a child with a knife to the belly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so she's pretty hardcore. These pirates coming through town, she's excited. This is what she wants. She falls in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. The 2 run away and they go to Jamaica and they get married. Anne Cormack now becomes Anne Bonny, most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. When she gets down there, she realizes that her new husband is pretty much a spy. He's a privateer. He's a spy for the British, spying on the pirate men, reporting back. Not very cool in her eyes. This is not what she wanted. She wanted that Captain Jack Sparrow type mentality. She falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. Much cooler name, has his own ship, much younger guy. His name was Calico Jack because he wore the jackets of the men that he killed. Wasn't a very clean guy, but he damn well looked good. So, with that said, he has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. Females curse pirate ships. So he says, you can be on my crew, but you have to dress like a guy. She's okay with this because Dad used to hide her back in Ireland as an attorney apprentice, so he can hide her away from his wife. So she gets it. She just wants to be a pirate. She's allowed to be a female in his quarters. With that said, she eventually gets pregnant. She's not on the crew very long. He drops her off in Cuba because you can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. It's just not going to work. So, being in Cuba, she has the child. He says, when you come back, we'll figure it out. But she comes back with no child. We have no idea what happened to that baby. She's also dressed like a female, which means she doesn't care anymore about hiding her gender from Jack. This makes Jack pretty angry. Jack also just captured another pirate crew that's down below deck on his ship. She's going to go flirt with these guys. We're on guy number 3 in case you lost count. She's going to go flirt with these guys and make him even more mad. The guy she's flirting with is a female pretending to be a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So, we have 2 females doing the exact same thing. She convinces this young lady, whose name was Mary Reed, to become part of the crew. The British find out where they are. They send the entire fleet to come take over one of the last ships they were looking for. all the men are down below deck watching the captives and the two drunk to come up and fight. It's literally Anne Bonny and Mary Read with their muskets above ship, fighting off an entire British fleet. Obviously, this ship gets taken. Now, as Calico Jack is being arrested, Anne Bonny's last words were to him, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." So the word dog shows up here quite a bit too. Now, the judge, his name is Nicholas Laws, the Jamaican Chief Justice. So when you guys hear or see my name, it's not me, it's the judge. He wants to see the two valiant men separately, the ones who fought back. He already tries and hangs all the other men, including Calico Jack. They're done, they're gone. So the two men go in front of the judge, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that Anne and Mary are female. They're still pirates to him. So the last thing they said to him was, "We plead our bellies." He said, "Fine, we'll delay your hanging. You cannot hang a woman in 1720 that's pregnant. It's illegal." So he says, "We'll delay your hanging." He sends them both back to jail. Dad is still here in Charleston with his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back here. She remarries again, guy number 4, has 4 kids, and dies at the age of 84.
What about her friend?
Mary is a pirate in a Jamaican jail with no family ties. She died from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. That was 1721. Now, this is normally what I call a level 3 because the story has so many holes in it. There's a lot going on. You can ask whatever you want to. The only 2 things I did not give you were the name of Anne Bonny's parents, both mom and dad, and the name of Calico Jack's ship. So as far as the spirit boxes go, ask at will, ask whatever you want to. As far as those of you with cameras, and I know your battery's probably dead, is it?
Yes.
Perfect. It usually dies right here. It only lasts for so long. I bring 3 extras. So with that said, I'm going to change out Lindsay's camera. If you want to take your cameras and go to the front of the powder magazine, as long as you're not influencing another tour and being in their way, we definitely want to get some footage up there or pictures if we can. So if there's a tour in the way, just let them do their thing and come back over here to the side. But we're going to try and get as close to the powder magazine as we can. Spirit boxes, if you go near the group up there, just make sure you're not interrupting what he's trying to do over there. Again, they already don't like me very much because I take a lot of their business. So,
Game, Hazel, door, actor, curriculum, mores, and such.
actor would be close if we were still across the street. You talking about the actress that the doctor and Ralph argued about? There's an actress, not an actor.
There you go.
What's the name of Calico Jack ship?
How's that?
I'm got more. I had to load that while I changed stuff out. Yeah, we definitely want to get some footage here.
What was the name of your ship?
Something.com, apparently. On the spooky ghost tour. There's the gunpowder magazine.
Yeah, something else.
You want to switch? You want to hold the camera?
What did he say we're supposed to get it to?
Around 60 degrees, 60, 65.
That's a hot spot.
Why did you betray Cavalry Joe?
I've gotten like 82.
Alright. Some cold down there, yeah. It's probably AC from the building, honestly.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Get anything over the battery, Gabby? He said the first place was where they usually have some activity.
Who are we supposed to be looking for here? Ian Bonnie? Or Mary Reed?
I guess you can look for both.
Is Mary Reed here?
Baby, come here. Look.
What?
You said it's supposed to be 60 something?
I don't know if that's like that.
I don't know
Or
either.
not.
How are you guys doing back here?
Doing alright.
Yeah.
We getting anything on that spirit box?
Did you hear anything yet?
Give it a little bit of volume if you'd like. I mean, now that the tours are gone. It's on the right-hand side over here on the ball speaker.
Okay.
There you go. So where are the dots at? I don't see the dots. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have
The
you guys
dots?
seen? Yeah. The dots. Yeah, there they are.
Oh, okay.
So what happens with the dots, let me get my arm out of there. What they do is you see the blue and a red one. So the blue one is always going to go to the coldest spot within the screen, and then the red one's going to go within the hottest spot within the screen.
Okay.
So with us looking for cold spots, it's nice to be able to follow where that blue dot is going. But if you point it up at the sky, it's automatically going to go and disappear into the skylight.
Okay.
Anybody from the Ranger here?
The Ranger?
The Ranger.
Is that what you guys think the name of the ship is?
I think it's what it is.
You're wrong.
Oh.
Try again.
Could be the Kingston.
Yeah.
So,
Dang, baby. You're cold. Just kidding.
This is one of the government buildings. But yes, still.
I think that would have.
What was the name of the ship?
Gabrielle, do you know?
What ship were you on?
Building.
Tell me what ship you were on.
He's given a good punch.
You hear anything yet?
Again,
Punch, which means they're some of the original colonies that maybe are a little bit further inland.
Right.
The only
Well,
one that
they
says
wouldn't
was
have
good
been.
was Emory.
again, I'm not a full Google.
Other than Virginia, I'm not thinking of anything that Virginia, Pennsylvania.
I thought Faith was good.
Those would be the furthest.
It
down.
says incorporate.
What about like Maryland?
I mean incorporate.
What about like Maryland?
I'm thinking Tennessee, but honestly,
Tennessee's not original.
it doesn't have to be as long as there's something.
Oh, it's telling me to chill.
But the government building is government mandated. It's
Okay, I got the
I
vibe.
would think about maybe a Georgia jail, like a jail somewhere. Because the prisons are usually going to be the first things built. It's definitely Texas.
We got plenty of time on the meter.
Emory, the diary.
Hawaii,
It'd be interesting
probably.
if Ann did it. We'd actually have some answers.
Isn't there like diaries of Anne or something?
And Frank.
Yeah.
Wrong, Ann. All right, so you
You
guys
never
are.
know.
He thought he heard the word Ranger, or was that a guess on the name of the ship?
I thought I heard that word.
Okay, that's wrong. That's not the answer to the name of the ship. The name of the ship was the Kingston. So I don't expect the word Kingston to come through, but I do expect the word King, which I've had several times here when you've asked that question. So, just because it is so muggy and hot, I'm going to go ahead and get this wrapped up. That way you guys can actually ask me questions. I know some of you are looking forward to hitting that candy store and heading on back up to your hotels. I just feel bad. I want to buy you a new shirt, man. I mean, my shirt's probably the same way in the back. So we put the backpack there. This way you guys can actually ask me questions. I'll get you guys my cards so you guys have my contact info. I will have your data done for you normally by noon, but give me till 1 o'clock. And we'll kind of take it from there. Like I get up at the crack of dawn getting started on it. And we'll kind of see what's going on. Let's head over here so I can put the bag down and start collecting your devices. Lindsay, let's start with yours. So that's a groin vaulted ceiling in there. So there's 8 giant pillars that make up the outside of the building, and then they all kind of curve like a groin into a center pillar in the middle of the building. It's actually pretty, and it's made out of brick. It's pretty interesting to see.
That'd be difficult to construct.
I'm sure it was. So if you guys did the Provost dungeon, did you guys go to the old exchange in Provost yet?
Nope.
Nope, because it's constructed the exact same way.
That's really cool.
Just to see the way the bricks are laid out, and they use the mortar in different ways than, just straight across. I'll just start going around the horn here. Nice job. This isn't the easiest job. The fact that you guys heard anything out of it some nights is a natural wonder.
The fact that it said your name is pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. Again, that's probably our